Good morning everybody, welcome to another video. Welcome to the Titfield Thunderbolt special. Welcome to the Camerton Branch Line and the Cambe Valley Railway. We are going to be, I don't know how we're going to fit it all in today, we've got a lot to cover.
Yes, there is a lot on the list.
We're looking at a canal as well, but not part of this video, but we are also looking at Titfield Thunderbolt, Tallion Railway, Camerton Branch Line, Cambe Valley Railway, all in this video. Let's try and keep it under 20 minutes. So just to give you a little geographical context, we are over here in the southwest of England, just south of Bath and Bristol. The Camerton Branch Line heads through the Cambe Valley and holds some significance for the history of the UK heritage railway lines, which we will come to very shortly. In the meantime, you join us at its most western end. First part of the journey, we are right on the trackbed, as you may well be able to see. Choo-choo! Choo-choo. And we're just approaching Halt, which was it was a stone-built structure. We think it was built just before the First World War, ironically, or not ironically, but then obviously the First World War took a hold, and everything was closed for passengers, and then it reopened again after the First World War, only to close again by 1925, as most of the line did. But we'll come to the history as we walk a bit further on. So here we are, Halt tick. This is a nice tick. It's a lovely bit of country. We've got the Carron Brook just to our right.
Which is very pretty, meandering.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So the start of the Cambe Valley is here, and here is the first halt hidden under this hedgerow. A few runners about this morning, which is good. Right, let's head on to the east, up the Cambe Valley. Cold today, blooming cold, right?
Yep.
Which is bizarre because yesterday it was like the hottest day ever. Tomorrow is going to be the hottest day ever.
No, Monday's supposed to be crazy hot.
Monday's supposed to be crazy hot. Today, blooming cold and windy. We chose to come out and film the Titfield Thunderbolt or the Somerset Coal Canal and any other video we're doing today. Radford and Timsbury Halt. So again, this is the station that opened after 1900, and we're now in a cutting for the station. Back there is a bridge with a little sign saying Jenny's Walk. It's a lovely little cutting, lovely little area.
One of the many bridges.
One of the many bridges. How many bridges?
There were 4 over bridges and 11 under bridges in 3.5 miles.
Yeah, so the line was opened in 1882, this first section, up to Camerton, which is 3.5 miles. And as Rebecca says, there's a gazillion bridges and over bridges, under bridges in that 3.5 mile stretch. Right, so Radford and Timsbury Halt, built in 1910 and closed 15 years later with the rest of the passenger services along the line. We're going to call this a tick, although we can't find any remains whatsoever. But I'm going to say it's here because there's some wooden bits in the hedge there.
Yep.
And there's masonry and bits there. There's walling up the top there, so we'll say this is it.
Yep.
Right, so we're at Combe Hay Tunnel and Combe Hay Halt, but we'll take a couple of little pics of Combe Hay Halt and the obviously the location of where it was before we move on to a big walk up past well, the old canal as well.
Did you say the word up?
A little bit. So we just left the village of Combe Hay, and we're now walking up part of the valley, the Cambe Valley. Just found this lovely little bridge here, which we shall show you. Before we get to the whole Titfield Thunderbolt bit, we wanted to give you a little bit of history about the actual Camerton Branch Line. So The Bristol and North Somerset Railway was built in 1873, I think. Again, purely really to take advantage of the Somerset coalfield. And soon after that, almost immediately, they thought, okay, well, why don't we build a branch up into the Cam Valley? So they sought parliamentary approval, etc. And by 1882, they had built 3.5 miles of the Camerton Branch Line up to Camerton. But they then thought, right, okay, well, we need to extend this line now to take advantage of the other collieries in the valley, all the way up to Limpney Stoke. They started to build it, and they built it and opened it. I think the first running day was 1909, and they built a few more halts along the way. And at that point was the most successful time for the railway itself. So eventually the coal round here pretty much dried up. I'm right on the edge.
Trees everywhere.
So, and by 1925, the bus ran a really good service up and down here.
That was for passengers, and then the milk deliveries. The lorries were picking them up straight from the farms. Right.
So there we go. So the train was pretty much redundant come 1925 and closed for passengers. So all of that fits in very nicely with the fact that there are a number of films filmed on this railway. One of those was the Titfield Thunderbolt. Now the Titfield Thunderbolt really sort of epitomises this line itself. Buses, the plight of the train over the bus, and a local village coming together to reopen their railway. So 1953, the film took inspiration from the Titfield Railway up in North West Wales, forgive the pronunciation, which was the first heritage line opened in 1951. Slight deviation from the Cam Valley Railway, or Camerton Branch Line, whichever you want to call it. We are now stood next to Midford Station, Midford Halt, which is one of the last stops on the Somerset and Dorset Railway before the Combe tunnels, or the two tunnels, what are they called? The Greenway tunnels? Anyway, the tunnels before it heads down into Bath. So ahead of us now is the Midford Viaduct. We're going to look down over the top of that and get a very famous shot from the Titfield Thunderbolt. We're at Midford, and we think we're walking back along the canal now, and we're actually walking in the opposite direction. We've cheated and driven obviously to Midford, parked up here. The landscape and the architecture, the infrastructure at Midford is fascinating. You've obviously got the Somerset and Dorset Railway going right over the top towards Bath, and the two tunnels. You've got underneath that the other viaduct for the railway we're walking on today. Well, this is an unexpected viaduct treat and a half. Wow, I did not know this was here, any way, shape or form. I think the embankment for this railway just over there just pretty much destroyed what was left of the canal, because this was built in 1910, 1908, 1910. Canal was gone by then because that was gone in 1900, so there'd be no reason to sort of build a bridge over it. But this was what an unexpected treat this is. I knew there was a bridge here, but I didn't expect there to be a massive...
tree is literally built
tree is built underneath it, yeah.
And it's gone both sides, or grown. You've got me saying it now. The tree does not build itself, the tree grows.
This is a huge unexpected treat for the railway. We did not know this was here. Love this. We've run out of time. We had intended to do the whole Titfield Thunderbolt and sort of recreate some of the scenes and take some of the pictures. Cricket ground, Monkton Combe, we've run out of time basically. So the intention is to nick some photos off a friend of ours called Ian Farnfield. Thank you for your photos. What we haven't talked about is the whole situation we find ourselves in now, the whole coronavirus, the COVID-19 situation we find ourselves in, and how that's having a massive effect on the heritage railways. So we talked earlier about the Titfield Thunderbolt being inspired by the Titfield Railway, the first first heritage railway in 1951. So they would normally take in £1 million worth of takings for the year, and that would sustain them, that would sustain their staff, that would sustain them out of season. And a lot of heritage railways are in the same situation. They have a Just Giving page. We'll put that link below, so please do sponsor them. They need what they think to keep going for this year and the winter thereafter is £150,000. I think they're at £85,000 now. If we can do our little bit and get you guys to donate just whatever you can at this time, and we appreciate some of you can't. Every little helps. It's a very difficult time, so you might not be able to. So the first part of our journey brings us to, if I spin that, ow, sorry. Just up there is the railway as it just comes in towards Midford.
Suddenly got very windy.
Yeah, we have had 4 seasons in one day today pretty much. We've had cold, warm, hot, wind, rain. I'm not sure anything else we can throw in the mix there.
No, not today.
So for us, for the time being, we're going to call that a day on the Camerton Line, the Cam Valley Railway, where the Titfield Thunderbolt was filmed, and amongst others.
Yes, right by this massive viaduct.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed our little spray today along the line.
Yeah,
right.
Sneaky.
Yes, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.